Attention passionate Green Bay Packers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Green Bay Packers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Green Bay Packers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Green Bay Packers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. The NFL landscape is always full of surprises, and this season has been no different. The Green Bay Packers, coming off a strong start and showing resilience on both sides of the ball, are now facing an intriguing situation that could shape their future in a very significant way. You see, with the league's recent developments and the injuries piling up across the NFC, the Packers find themselves in a position where they might be approached by other teams, especially the New York Giants, who are desperately looking to bolster their receiving core after a major injury to one of their top wide receivers, Malik Nabers. Just this past Sunday, during that exciting slate of games, the Giants suffered a huge setback when Nabers, trying to make a deep reception from rookie quarterback Jackson Dart, went down with what turned out to be a serious knee injury. It was a tough moment, not only for the Giants but for Nabers himself, who was emerging as a real weapon in their offense. You could see the tears, the frustration, and the obvious concern as he was carted into the locker room. And unfortunately, the tests confirmed the worst, the tear of his ACL, ending his season before it truly began. This kind of injury is devastating, especially for a young player with so much potential, and it's a blow that the Giants will have to grapple with for the rest of the season. Now, with Nabers out, the Giants are in a tricky spot. They've got Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, and Jalen Hyatt, but questions remain about whether those players can fill the void effectively. The team's front office, no doubt, will be looking very closely at the trade market to see if they can find some immediate help. And that's where the Green Bay Packers come into the picture, even if, at first glance, it might seem like an unlikely scenario. The Packers, after all, have a solid and versatile receiver in Romeo Doubs, who's been making waves early in the season. But the question is, could the Giants, eager to fix their offense, make a call about Doubs? Well, according to some NFL insiders, especially Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports, the Giants might be interested in acquiring Doubs, especially given that it's the final season of his rookie contract. The Packers, as we know, have a talented receiver room, but they can't keep all their players long-term, especially with the upcoming decisions about extensions and re-signings. Doubs, in particular, has been a standout, with a career-high 4 touchdowns in just 4 games, tying him for third most in the league. He's on a pace that's hard to ignore, averaging nearly 14 yards per reception and boasting a catch percentage of over 68%. That's impressive for a player who's quickly become a favorite target of Jordan Love, especially in those clutch moments. Despite the Packers' tendency to spread the ball around, Doubs has shown he can be a reliable, explosive option. His chemistry with Love is evident, and his ability to stretch the field with those deep roots has been a game-changer for Green Bay's offense. It's also important to note that, even if the Packers aren't planning to extend him after this season, they see him as a vital piece for their Super Bowl ambitions. They wouldn't part ways with such a key player unless the offer was overwhelmingly compelling. So for now, it looks like the Packers are highly unlikely to entertain trade talks for Doubs, especially after his recent performance against the Dallas Cowboys. But the story doesn't end there. Once Week 5 begins, the Packers could find themselves with a bit of a crowded receiver room. Christian Watson, the former second-round pick, is nearing a return from the reserve PUP list after recovering from that torn ACL he suffered last January. Now, if Watson shows good progress in practice, he could return as soon as next week's game against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a huge boost for Green Bay, as Watson's speed and playmaking ability add a new dimension to their offense. However, this return might not lead to any major moves before the trade deadline. The Packers have a core group that's been performing well, especially with the likes of Romeo Doubs, Jadon Reed, and others stepping up. But it will be fascinating to see how they rejig their depth chart once Watson is fully active. The team's coaching staff will need to make some tough decisions about how to distribute targets and snaps, especially given the emergence of players like Wicks, Heath, Matthew Golden, and Savion Williams. It's also worth mentioning that Jaden Reed, who's currently on injured reserve, is expected to return later in the season. That adds another layer of complexity for the Packers' offensive planning. They're building a versatile, dynamic receiving unit, capable of adapting to various game situations. And this depth gives them confidence that they can withstand injuries and still compete at the highest level. But the question remains, will they be open to trading one of their key receivers if the right offer comes along? At this point, it seems unlikely, especially given how well Doubs has been playing. Now, diving a bit into the broader picture, the NFC North is becoming more competitive than ever. The Detroit Lions have been impressive, the Minnesota Vikings are always contenders, and even the Chicago Bears are showing signs of improvement. For Green Bay, maintaining that edge is crucial, and having a strong, healthy receiving core is part of that strategy. The team's quarterback Jordan Love is developing rapidly, showing poise and confidence beyond his years, and his chemistry with Doubs has been a significant factor in their recent success. Love's growth has been one of the most encouraging stories this season. Coming into the league as a first-round pick, many expected him to take some time to adjust, but he's been showing flashes of a franchise quarterback. His decision-making, arm strength, and leadership have all improved, and that's reflected in the team's offensive numbers. Doubs, in particular, has been a reliable target, especially in the red zone and on third downs. His ability to create separation and make contested catches has been vital for Love's progression. Meanwhile, the defense remains a work in progress but shows promise, especially with players like Kenny Clark anchoring the line and the secondary stepping up at times. The Packers are aiming for consistency and to stay competitive in this tight division. They know that every game counts, and their focus is on building a balanced team capable of making a deep playoff run. Back to the trade rumors. Even if the Packers aren't actively shopping Doubs, the league's landscape can change quickly. If a team like the Giants or another contender offers a compelling package, Green Bay might have to consider it. But given Doubs' current trajectory and importance to their offense, it's more likely the Packers will hold on unless an extraordinary deal comes along. They've invested in him, and his development aligns perfectly with their plans for sustained success. And let's not forget the bigger picture. The NFL trade deadline is always full of surprises. Teams are constantly evaluating their rosters, trying to find that one piece that could push them over the edge. For Green Bay, it's about balancing the present and future. They want to contend now, but also need to keep their core intact for years to come. That's why players like Doubs are so valuable, not just for what they contribute on the field, but for their potential to grow into even bigger roles. So in summary, the NFL landscape is shifting, and the Green Bay Packers are at a fascinating crossroads. With the potential return of Christian Watson, the emergence of other young receivers, and the ongoing development of Jordan Love, this team is still very much in the hunt. The injury to Malik Neighbors has opened a window of opportunity for the Giants, but it's unlikely to result in a trade involving Doubs, at least not anytime soon. The Packers are confident in their roster, and their focus remains on winning games and making a deep playoff push. The season is still young, but the stakes are high, and every move, every game, and every decision could be a piece of the puzzle that leads them back to the Super Bowl. Now, Green Bay fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these developments? Do you think the Packers should consider trading Doubs if a big offer comes in? Or do you believe they're better off holding onto him for that championship run? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Green Bay Packers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Green Bay Packers news. Keep the passion alive, and let's keep supporting our team through thick and thin. Go Pack Go!